Welcome to my channel, guys. That's a Chelsea Blue. This is just a general chat, really, regarding yesterday's performance. So yeah, you know, I was seeing yesterday Steve Sidwell saying how superb we played against Paphos. We should have. All right, their goalkeeper did save them, but if we had quality finishers, well, we would have won 3 or 4 nil. Unfortunately, the only one who was doing the shooting was Caicedo. He could have hat trick on his own. Let's be honest. But I said it was poor. I mean, apart from maybe the 75th minute, just before the goal came, we did improve slightly, but it was still, you know, everybody's inverting, Gusto's inverting, and it's just no difference between like Rosinia and Maresca. Well, there's no difference. People were hoping we can have a slightly different style of game. I didn't know what style we were playing under Maresca, mind, in all fairness. It was like a bit lopsided, passing back and forth. Still doing that now, passing back and forth. The atmosphere, in all fairness, was, especially in the Matthew Ad and lower, well, just in general, really. Obviously, I watched it on the TV. Whether they done something to stop the amplifying from the crowd, to stop the noise, I don't know. But it was quite quiet. It was just like, it was just so quiet. I heard the Paphos supporters more than I heard our own supporters. It was. They said the atmosphere was awful, and you know. But then again, what do you expect from these owners? The way they sort of doing their stuff, the way everything from like vivid seats, they're getting rid of or trying to get rid of, season ticket holders, and so they can have more tourists in the stadium, then have obviously more profit. It's just, it said these clowns, they are like just taking a mick now. But yeah, like I said, obviously the game finished 1-0 through, a Caicedo header. He almost like flew it with his head. He was obviously the better player of every single one there. All the Paphos goalkeeper, Um, but like I said, you had obviously Hato had a shot at goal. You had obviously Caicedo had a few attempts, shooting unfortunately directly at their keeper. Uh, Esteval, had a shot as well, or a couple of shots. One was a volley. And then you have Reece James had a shot and it just went slightly wide, about 2 or 3 yards, something like that. And then obviously the Enzo goal that was ruled out because of a foul. But as I said, the actual performance was just awful. I said I don't see any difference from playing under Maresca and playing now under Rossini. I don't see no difference whatsoever. Like I said, but still just nothing there. Don't just It's just no excitement. Garnacho just running the players and fluffing most of the time. Um, Gittins obviously came on and he does like a lovely little skill, and then there's no end product. And it's like, what was the point in that almost? But yeah, I said the only one who obviously gets the fans, excited is Esteval, and he's just still a kid. Well, most of them are kids, really, let's be honest. But he's the one that he gets everybody on their feet. But apart from that, as I said, Caicedo's obviously the main man, and we shouldn't have to rely on our Caicedo, but he seems to do everything. He's in obviously in midfield. He's picking up the players. He's trying to tackle them. He's trying to stop whoever he's coming across, stop their play to intercept balls and to move the ball quicker. And then you got Enzo Traficon Fernandez, who just slows the game down. He just is passing. Sometimes it's slow, and you could see somebody running down the wing, and he doesn't look, and he wants to pass back into one of the centre backs, and they're like passing back and forth. Um, I don't know. People get excited and call his name. I can never call his name. Yeah, all right, he pops up every now and then with a goal or an assist, but it's every now and then. It's just as I said, I think he'd be gone. I think come the summer, and I think going by what the papers are saying, Cole Palmer would be quite interested in moving to United, and he is a United supporter, and I think he might even think now, especially come the end of the season, if we're not, if you can see that we're not progressing, or I mean, at the end of the day, he's been lied to by the owners, saying that they're gonna go and work work around him. People can work around him, get players to work around him, and he's the main guy basically. And he hasn't had he's had nobody. He's had to do stuff himself, and now he's injured because he's probably killed himself doing too much. Carrying Chelsea basically, because he is Chelsea. And now Esteval probably had the same thing now. We're gonna work around you now, and he's probably been told, we're gonna get some players and this, that, and the other. You're gonna be the main guy. Like I said, it's just a vicious circle, you know. But I think that Cole Palmer will come the end of the season. He's gonna be thinking or looking at his options. Does he think that this club progressing? No. Who's interested in him, and there should be quite a few, I'd imagine, who are going to be interested in him, as long as he's fit. Um, I think you will. I think you will leave at the end of the season. Obviously, less of course. We do grab Champions League spot, or we do look like we're gonna win anything major, which I don't think so. Not on the blue coat. But I do. I really do, guys. I really think that, unfortunately, I think it's just a matter of time before Cole Palmer goes, and maybe Caicedo. Not bothered about Enzo Fernandez, but I think he's going to be going as well. I said Cucurella will probably end up going. Maybe, and then others will probably start following them. They will use other players, the Cobham boys, as pure profit, because that's what we are, or that's what they are. They're driven by all the pure profit, because there's more money to them. And that's unfortunately, a lot of fans, they're accepting this model. Rather than getting rid of this model, they're accepting it, or they're hoping for it to be changed. When, as I said, you can see it's not going to change. I don't know how many more times people need to explain it's not changing. It could change, could have changed, but they're still insisting on buying more kids. Like I said, missed out on Mark Gurhey. Could have got him for 20 million. The amount of money that they're going to be wasting on this, if they get this kid, Jake, for like 60 million. If that happens, is rumors that it's not going to happen, or might fall through, because Chelsea value him at 39 million plus add-ons, and they want 60 million, and so they're short of their valuation. So there's talks of Chelsea may go in for Senesi of Bournemouth, but it's nothing there, is it? I mean, as I said, they want to go for another kid, and why spend all that money on this unproven kid? That money you could spend on that proven kid, you could have put that towards wages to have Mark Gurhey. But he don't want a project. That's the thing. He doesn't want the project. And can you blame him? I personally don't. I'm sure, like, most people out there wouldn't want to accept this madness of a project. I said years ago when Roman Abramovich, that there was there was a project. It was, I want to win trophies. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Don't want to burn bridges with Spurs. I want to, or build bridges with Spurs. You know, he wanted to burn bridges. You know, like at Willian. You know, same with the stadium. You know, when they come into the club, they said they're going to build a 100-point team. You know, we're further away from building a 100-point team than we were when they first took over. So that just shows. And we're worse off this season we were last season under Enzo Maresca. So we're not any better. And I said they called Liam Rosenior in. You know, when winnable games really. Um, so to try and get the fans back on board, I said it's all PR, and unfortunately the fan base is that weak and deluded that they're sucking it all in. I said I don't know where all the hardcore Chelsea supporters are, but you know, sooner everybody gets together, the better, and get these idiots out of the club because it's just dross. The game's dross, the atmosphere's dross, the ownership, but even worse, and anything else really. But it's just dross from top down. You know, most of the players, you know, are just average at best. Bad, like I said, bad. You know, your Cucurellas, your Reece James, Trevor Chalobah, Caicedo, and then obviously then you've got Esteval and Palmer. Apart from that, that is really it. You know, there's a lot of money wasted on Baby Lurch and Gittins. You know, they could have got somebody a bit more. You know, could have got Elise, as I said, but he didn't obviously want the project. Um, like I said they could have got a Victor Osimhen, but you know they didn't want to pay, and they said he wouldn't fit into our system. Well, what is our system? Because I'm yet to see what our system is and what style we play. All I see is like it's rubbish, to be honest with you. You know, I don't see anything exciting. Um, but yeah, like I said, that's it with that. Like I said, I don't know whether that this Jack A is going to happen. I don't think it is. I said they got you know, Disasi, you know, to get the fans excited. He's been recalled into the first team training. So I think he's going to be, you know, either they're using him to sell him, to bring him into first team to sell, or in case everything fails, which it is because there's no money at the club, then they'll have obviously Disasi to stand in for the injured Tosin. And then as I said, you got Raheem Sterling. I'd rather see Raheem Sterling, you know, than Garnacho or Gittins. At least he has experience. Yeah, there's not much more than that, but at least he has experience. At least he will have a crack or two, and you know, you never know with Raheem Sterling. But like I said, it's just awful. I said spending like 300,000 a week on him to do nothing when you could potentially have, you know, a Raheem Sterling in the team, you know. But he just sat there taking his money, you know, when they could be using him. But yeah, as I said, it's all madness. And I said when people need to wake up, they really need to wake up. Like, you know, the fans, they really need to like look at themselves. There's people on X who keep saying, like, posting like 22 days of try and get the egg barley out or the model to change. Like, I just don't see the point in it. It shouldn't just be model to change because they're not going to change. You're just wasting time. It's Bluco out, you know, and it's a lot of people are still like, you know, hoping that this model changes, or you know, it's not going to change, guys. It really isn't. If what you've witnessed, you know, if you can't see what we've seen so far, doesn't change your mind, nothing ever will. I don't think. They said 2 billion spent on crap, basically, and you know, they said lesser manager than the last gaffer. You know, it's it's just everything's just downgrading, downgrading, downgrading. And I said, you know what scares me if the likes of Caicedo, Palmer goes, and maybe one or two others go. Who are these owners going to bring in next? You know, that's what people should be worrying about. Who are these guys going to get in next to replace them? That's what That's what you should be thinking, because they haven't replaced the players that are already left. Kai Havertz, he hasn't been replaced because people are against him and everything, or didn't like him or whatever. Well, he won us the Champions League when we beat Man City. He scored important goals as well. Um, you know, they haven't replaced him really. And Timo Werner, Pulisic, um, nobody's been replaced. And so if these go, it's just going to get less. Who knows what we'll get next? Nobody knows. Like they got his Kendry Paez. He was supposed to be like world class, but he's obviously with Strasbourg. Apparently he's like a vape king. He's like another Garnacho. But I mean, people said like he's gonna come into the team and he's gonna like you know up, make us go on the up again. But he's not really been successful under Strasbourg. So they're on about Chelsea, they're on about recalling him and bringing him into a championship team, apparently. But as I said, nobody, the players that have left, they haven't been replaced. And if they have been replaced, they've been downgraded than the last people. So if you didn't like the last people, these ones are even worse. So when these ones go, it's just going to go down even worse again. So, like I said, the fan base is weak. The Chelsea supporters trust is just, who knows where they are. They're probably doing another survey for all of us to people who are members. I'm a member. Unfortunately, I'm thinking of I'm subscribing. I think once like, what's the point? They don't care. They bit like the owners, they don't care about us, so why should we care about them? And it's a bit like the CST, they don't care about us, so why should we care about them? It's just some shame, really. Somebody else can't form, their own sort of group, like the 1958 bunch. Somebody with like bit of balls, bit of kahunas. They want their owners in the Ineos and Glazers out. They don't want the model to change. They want them out. And like the Strasbourg, they want Bluco out. They don't want a model to change. They want to be independent. They don't want to be like be part of the Chelsea sort of umbrella type of thing, where we send them players and then blah blah blah. And if these owners go out and buy another football club, then there's even more, can cause even more issues. So as I said, these Strasbourg, the Ultra 90s, they don't want a model to change. They want him out, but our fans are like deluded or stupid or both or whatever. They still want the model to change. When they said Stevie Wonder can see the model's not changing, so I just don't get it. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll probably do another video later on. I haven't really seen much on you know any much PR apart from the stuff that still circling from days ago. And nothing really new. As I said, apart from Palmer, he's missing home, missing his friends at home, and he would be interested apparently in going to play for Man United, which, as I said, I could probably see happening. Um, Personally, I think it will happen, but that's really it. We're still getting, as I said, linked with Xhaka and Senesi, uh, and what's the other guy, Radon or whatever his name, from Como, him. But when we should be, if the model was changing, we'd go and get a Bastoni, but the model's not changing. So, we just gotta like it and lump it. Basically, this is what we're gonna get served up. So you either accept it or you don't. I don't accept it. Sorry. Standards are in the mud. Time for all you guys to wake up and and see like this model's not changing. And if you want your club back where it was before, fighting and winning the league, um, then you need to sort of start waking up and and start jumping on board the Blueco out train, because that's what we need. We need Blueco out, and then hopefully once they're out, then and it can sell. It's been proven now that these owners, if somebody comes in, with money like another Roman Abramovich, they will sell. And so there's the proof. Don't need any more than that. So when people used to say before, oh, they can't sell, there's a 10-year this and blah blah blah, they can sell. So if somebody's out there, with a few billion, get these owners out. It says I'm only a few billion short. I wouldn't mind getting them out, but I'm just a few billion short, unfortunately. And like many other Chelsea supporters, we'd love to get these owners out. But unfortunately, the Gen Zs, I don't think they know what side of the fence to jump on. Personally, they said, what's happened to our fan base. We used to be ruthless. Now we're like wet cardboard, wet paper. We're just nothing no more. I said, don't know where everybody's gone, but I wish you'd all come back and unite again and get these owners out, and sooner the better. And the CST, you need to sort yourselves out. Stop doing surveys. The next survey comes up, I will not be doing it. So if anybody from CST watch this, they probably not, 'cause I'm too small. But if anybody from the CST do watch this, then please, yeah, if you send it my way, I won't be filling it out, because this is a pointless exercise. Yeah, what I want is for you guys to get out of whatever rabbit hole you're in, pull your fingers out, and pull your socks up, and get these owners out. That's what I want. And organise a proper protest, not like the Mickey Mouse that was just sorted out. Yes, it was a start of things, and hopefully, it will get, it'll be aimed properly this time at Blue Co-op, rather than this nonsense of changing the model and then the chanting of Enzo Maresca and we hate Spurs. That's not the agenda. It's nothing to do with Spurs and Maresca. If you want these owners out, you want them out. If you want the model to change, then you need to put it across to the owners. They were probably they saw the couple of hundred fans that sort of protested, and probably just laughed, because I laughed. So if I'm laughing, they're laughing, and other people were laughing, and especially the other teams, the other supporters, they were laughing. So I said, if the next protest, if they are going to do another one, then it needs to be properly set up properly, and everyone needs to be on the same page, not this blooming Enzo Maresca nonsense. Strasbourg didn't chant Leo Rossignol, not at all. It said it was aimed at one direction only, not Blue Co out. But I said all fans are weak or deluded, or somebody, I don't know what it is. But anyway, yeah, that's it for this video. It's a bit longer. Sorry to bore you all. But yeah, as I said, I'm sick of this Blue Co nonsense personally, and you should all be too. And if you're accepting this nonsense of a model, then I'm sorry, your standards are low, extremely low. And if I was you, I'd go support a Tottenham, because they're just the same. They have no standards. So, but my standards will always be top, and I want Chelsea to be back where we used to be, and that has been at the top. And used to look down at people like Arsenal. I know, unfortunately, we got to look up. If you're accepting that, I'm sorry, you're in the bin. So that's it for this video. I said I'll see if anything PR, any more PR comes out. If it do, I may do another video today, or not today, well, yeah, later on this evening. Um, but yeah, that's it for today. As I said, guys, the likes extremely low. The subscribing, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the subscribing. You know, I'm sorry if I'm that bad. You know, I'm fair enough. You know, don't subscribe, but you know, I'm only in it for Chelsea. I want our Chelsea back, and if you're like me, you know, hit that subscribe button. You know, no harm. But yeah, that's it for the day. As I said, is as always is win lose draw, blue co out. Respect to every single one of you. You know, and it's not personal. I just sick of this weak fan base and everything else that goes along with it. You know, I just want these owners out, and now we know. Well, I knew anyway, but you know, it's all been out, and now they can leave. Just get them out. So anyway, that's it for today. As always, win, lose, draw, blue go out, and that's a Chelsea blue out. Cheers, guys. See you on the next one.